Hi, everyone.
Hey, I hope everybody is doing well.
What is this, episode 3?
Yes, this is episode 3. Very glad to be in here tonight. We have actually been snowed in the Midwest.
8+ inches of snow where we're at in Missouri.
Yep.
And then I just got another notification on my phone that said we could potentially be getting another winter advisory. Yeah, and the Lord blessed us to not lose power.
No, we didn't.
So we're great.
There's a lot of ladies out there shoveling their own snow. So if guys, don't let your ladies shovel your snow.
Man,
Get out-
no, that was different, sir. Cause them was whole married couples.
Yeah, they were married couples. So I said, don't let your lady shovel. If your lady gonna be out there helping you, make sure you get out there with her and help her shovel. That's all I'm saying.
You got a whole man. This is your husband,
Mm-hmm.
and they could have had before we arrived on the scene. From the naked eye, it appeared to be these women in our neighborhood who have significant others, and these young men were nowhere to be found. And these women is out here straight thugging it out, shoveling snow and ice. And then the men come and just salt bay some salt on the newly uncovered pavement, and then they go in the house. It's like something ain't right. However, that ain't my business. So let me go ahead and back up out of that.
Let us know. What do you think? We are in the new millennium. This is 2025. How do you feel about shoveling snow now as a new liberated woman? Do you feel like shoveling snow out of your realm, or
No.
and it is something that you should do at a moment's notice? What do you think about that? Make sure that you leave something in the comments about shoveling snow as a lady. Not saying that you can't shovel snow, but especially in a relationship with a man. What do you think about shoveling snow? That's actually one of the worst parts about owning a home.
Now, hold on, because before the people try to come for me, sir, I mow the yard.
I will give her some credit. She mows the lawn. She gets out and mows the lawn. Not because I'm sitting back and drinking tea while she's mowing the lawn, but she actually said that was very therapeutic for her.
It is. I thoroughly enjoy it.
To mow the lawn.
And then I have to water the grass.
Uh-huh.
And then, I'm particular about our driveway.
Yep.
And our sidewalk. It has to be free and clear of all clippings and shavings.
Yep. So she does that. I let her do it. I don't take that away from her. I let her help mow the grass, but I get it. She won't weed eat. I do the weed eating.
That's scary.
It'll tear you up if you ain't ready for it. So that's what I do. I do the weed eating.
And I power wash.
And she power washes. So I give her that. She does her thing. We come together as a couple.
But where I draw the line is I'm not shoveling.
She's not shoveling any snow. Nor should you have to if you don't want to. Yeah, she does her thing, and that's a part of
compromise.
Compromise,
Teamwork.
and a part of our branding is cultivate kingdom marriages. Cleaving to your spouse, like the Bible says we're supposed to, and to be able to be a superpower team, and that's what we're supposed to do.
Like tonight, I diced the vegetables for dinner, and our son made the homemade tortillas.
Mm-hmm.
And you made breakfast sausage and eggs and stuff, and I washed the dishes.
That's what we call teamwork, and it turns out great. And I want people to know that it always doesn't look one way. It will evolve. The things that you do when you're working together. Like sometimes when I worked full time, I would come home and didn't have a problem with cooking. Sometimes we're gonna have to realize that it doesn't always have to work the way we think it is supposed to work. It isn't going to be something I'm the man and I beat my chest and this is the way it's supposed to go. But I made a whole short about if a woman wants to find the godly man that she wants to find, she's going to have to be willing to compromise. For one, she's going to have to be willing to sacrifice and put her husband's needs above hers. On the flip side, the man does the same thing for his wife. Sometimes you're going to have to put aside the way you feel. Come straight home and get comfortable might not be something you're able to do. You might want to do it, but you're not able to do it. It's okay because it won't be like that every night. It won't be every night that you come home from work and go straight into the kitchen to cook. And it won't be the same way for her. It won't be that where she come home and does it either. That's a part of living selflessly and wanting to sacrifice for that other person, for the greater good of the team. And the more you live like that, the more you live being a servant leader, the better your marriage will be. Of course, coming together, putting God first, taking the time out, by yourselves and together will greatly impact your marriage and take it to new heights. So tonight we're going to continue talking about the fruits of the Spirit. This is one of those subjects that can go on forever. Faithfulness, being faithful in all aspects of your life when you are in a marriage, whether it's faithfulness to God, because if you are a believer, God is the covering of your home. And so first we have to remember to make sure to stay faithful to God, whatever God is telling us to do, whether it's continuing to be in your prayer closet like you need to, keeping them first in your endeavors. If you have business ventures, if you have goals in your home that you want to get completed, especially if it's God focused, that we stay faithful in those aspects, right? It's like your relationship in your marriage. Your relationship with Christ is that much more important. And when we don't stay faithful to our obligations to the Heavenly Father, we begin to see it in our lives. Things begin to, melt down. Sometimes when we do things in our own strength, it does not work. We don't know what happened. Like in a relationship, when we begin not to be faithful, what happens in a relationship when we begin not to be faithful? What happens?
The cookie crumbles.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What happens? You know how it is today. If you don't make each other happy, we're already going to end the relationship. So what if?
Okay, well, I don't equate faithful to happy.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are two totally different entities.
Tell them.
I would imagine when someone is not being faithful, what that would look like to me is someone dropping the ball. So it's like where you were once dependable, you're no longer dependable because something else has come in and diverted your attention. So it's like being a faithful husband. I can lean and depend on you, but something else comes in and like I said, diverts that. So we no longer are having our pillow talk, but I still feel a yearning to have pillow talk with you. But you could essentially be getting that pillow talk energy out via something else. Now, what that something else is, I don't know, but it could be another woman, not sexually, but it could be emotionally. You could be picking up other habits. Those habits don't always have to be antichrist. It could just be different habits. I mean, you could be drifting apart, or you could be drifting away from your significant other. I don't know. I guess maybe it looks different for everybody, what that looks like. Okay, because here's the thing. I don't think that everybody bases happiness by my same meter of happiness or my meter of faithfulness to their meter of faithfulness. I guess that would just depend on the person, because I know that I've heard former friends of mine that thinks that cheating is constituted by the physical act. I don't think that. And so who am I to say my meter of faithfulness and somebody else's meter of faithfulness is the same thing? Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay. I get what you're saying.
Can I buy a vow?
But everybody's faithfulness isn't the same. So in this meaning of fruits of the Spirit, because it's coming from the word, it has to be a specific thing we're talking about here. So I would believe faithfulness to be what? Or
just staying you might not be
true.
Seeking. Yeah, you not staying true to what you know your word tells you,
and what we maybe
deviating.
Maybe what we come to together as a couple. If we come together saying, "This is how I want us to stay faithful to each other," staying in those lanes of faithfulness, not breaking that. So if we come together like
breaking the frame,
a lot of arguments and a lot of disagreements and a lot of things that will sow dissension into your relationship and eventually marriage. If we communicated to each other that we wanted this to be faithfulness in our marriage, that means personal time only being allotted X amount of time, making sure that we come together as one, not drifting out of that time. Say if I wanted an hour a night to myself to read, let's not start making it 2.5, 3 hours.
Honoring your word.
Yeah. Ultimately, this is what I need you to do to continue to be faithful and steadfast. This is where I need you to be, and we both agree on it. We need to see when we're drifting out of that lane so we can course correct. Faithfulness is the fruit. Then I'm not staying faithful by continuing to break my promises to you. I'll be back, and I'm just going to be over my buddies doing the fantasy football league, and I'm going to be back in a couple hours, and that turns into 4 hours. That trust is ultimately broken because that's faithfulness, even though it's not, technically, physically or emotionally cheating on your spouse. If I continue to break my word, continue to show that I am unfaithful, of course you're going to lose trust in me. Why would you trust me next time when we decide to sit down and we decide to come together and make these other covenants with each other, right? Because if we're talking to each other and we're agreeing with each other to do things, that's a covenant. And if I continue to break the covenant, it will become a time where you no longer believe that person. That word will carry less weight.
How does that make a man feel, or how could that potentially make you feel if a wife no longer believes the words that her husband says? Can you imagine how that would make you feel?
Oh yeah, I would feel horrible. I think the first thing we do as men would get frustrated because why don't you believe me? I married you and I did all this. I either put you in a house or I bought you a car or I'm paying for things. I'm showing you that I'm here and I'm faithful and I'm solid. I'm a solid guy. So you can't believe me when I'm telling you face to face. You would feel a little hurt.
Okay.
That's the first thing. But then eventually, if you're a rational a man and you think about holding yourself accountable, how did we get here? That's the next question. And why is it like this in the first place? And then that's where accountability comes into play. The more you grow as a man, the more you grow as a husband, a spouse, you'll begin to say, okay, the more you change about yourself, the things you change that you can change, the more things will change around you, the more people will change.
What?
Yeah, the more you change yourself, the more you look inward and start to look at the things that you do in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put change to those things, if I'm arguing all the time, if I'm getting quick tempered all the time, take the time out to not do that, then my environment will change around me. We're not God. We don't have the power to I want to be able to just flip this switch and make this person do what I'll need them and want them to do, but you ultimately can't do that. Mm-hmm. The way we get people to change, the way we get people to move, and as leaders of our homes, it's only so many things we can make happen in the home. The way we really show them, understand that I am a person competent enough to lead them, is to show them and lead by example. Show them, okay, well, my husband's doing this, or dad's doing this, or if he's doing this, if he's getting up every day, if he's reading his word, or if he's praying with us, if he's sitting down and we're having Bible study, then of course they're going to want to do it. But if I'm just going to tell them, hey, you need to do Bible study every Wednesday, they're not going to want to do it because they're going to say, if you're not going to do it, if you're not leading by example, if you're not sacrificing your time, why do I have to sacrifice my time? Because I'm no better than you. What we say about the previous generation with that I do as I say, not as I do type of thing. It comes right down to that. We looked at the same thing. If our parents told us not to smoke and drink, and every weekend they were at our uncles and aunties' house or their friends' house on the corner smoking and drinking 40s, why can't I smoke and drink 40s? Because I'm looking up to you. You're the person that I'm looking up to. You're my hero, the hero without a cape. You're the one paying all the bills. You're the one that's taking care of me. And if you're fine smoking and drinking on the corner, doing the things that you want to do to have fun, why can't I do them? So it comes to leading as a leader, as a follower of Christ, is ultimately going to come down, do as I say, not as I do. You're going to have to lead by example. So if you're wanting them to sacrifice their time to be with the Lord, you're going to have to sacrifice your time and be with the Lord. If you want them to show fruits of the Spirit and be kind to their spouses in the future, you're going to have to show them what it looks like for you to treat your spouse with kindness. You're going to have to show them what it looks like for you to have to sacrifice and go up and cook. It's not, show them that it's not always the wife that has to cook all the time, even though their cooking might be way better than yours. Sometimes if it makes them feel better, if you go out of your way and cook for them, to go up there and cook the best chicken parmesan that you can make, because if that's all that you can make, that's all that you can make, and the kids just gonna have to eat it. But this is gonna take the pressure off mama's shoulders for the night, and y'all gonna eat it and enjoy it.
Ooh, the chicken parm. I had a collection plate. I sure would pass it.
Put them dollars in. I want the kind that fold. I want the kind that fold, not the kind that jingles. Gentleness is one of them. When a guy hears gentle, they run away, right? I think they kind of go inward.
Yeah,
they kind of go inward.
They think sass.
It's sass and soft,
no
backbone, and pushover,
simp. Those
of a male.
Words we mentioned are not true.
No, it's not. I think what happens is, and usually when you're in excess, you're out of alignment or out of balance. No woman wants to hear a man just crying all the time. I don't care who you are. You can listen to all these different people if you want to. You have to have a balance. They want to be able to see that you can take some licks and keep on ticking. They don't want you crying every time a bug flies. Even though I don't like bees and wasps, we can talk about bees and wasps all summer long. I will run from a bee and a wasp. I got stung in the face 4th of July. My lip was like the size of an Oscar Mayer winter sausage for like an hour and a half. And so I know how it is. I don't like bees. I don't like wasps. And I think I'm more afraid of those than I am snakes.
I'm not going to put my business out there, so I changed my mind.
It's okay, but it goes back. It all goes with what I'm saying about gentleness. Society and this whole culture we're in right now, especially when it comes to men, they'll tell you not to get married. And how can you blame them when they look at the examples that they look at? Why would you really want to get married when all these things are telling you not to get married, and the culture is telling you the what you need to do as a man is knock off many girls as you can. Get as many notches on your belt as you can, bust down as many chicks as you can, and then if you feel like it in the end, then you can get married when you get tired. But that's no difference than what we're saying about women doing the same thing. And I know it's a double standard because of nature and society and all of that stuff. But in the end, we're still opening up doors. We're still creating curses. We're still creating sin, broken home.
Because I know those knocking them chicks down is producing some babies.
Yeah, broken homes, and it's creating death, because you have to think about all the A words that happen. And be careful on these platforms that happen because of people being reckless, and then society telling you it's okay to have reckless premarital sex all the time
and make your unborn child suffer the consequences for.
So we already know what it is. If we pay attention, and especially if you know God, if you're asking God, and if you are a believer, if you're saved, you can look at these things. You can tell that what they're telling us to do isn't the right thing to do. What they're telling us is okay isn't okay. So men, you know that you want a good woman. You don't want a woman that's getting bust down. You don't want that. You want a woman that has a sense of virtue, and you do. And I said, you're not going to find her on street interviews. You're not going to find her on balloon popping shows, and you're not going to find her on any one of these other reality TV shows or Instagram pages that they're telling you to find them. You're not going to find them like that. The woman you want to get, and the woman you want God to send you, is a woman that inevitably needs some of that gentleness. You can't be hard all the time. I don't care who they are. You have to have some form of gentleness. I would have had to show you that I was able to have some kind of gentleness before you gave me the children that you gave me. Am I wrong? I'm not going to speak for you on that part.
You showed me something.
You wouldn't have wanted me if you seen that I was out fighting all the time. If I was a caveman.
Because the first episode on how it all started.
Yes.
Is I left you alone.
But I wasn't showing forms of gentleness.
Right? No. You were mean.
And I wasn't taught that was what's going to get you the girl. Now one can argue, and one can have a debate on how that situation works and what women tend to gravitate to. We can have that conversation all day long. But in reality, I was taught that wasn't going to get a lady to stay with you. That was going to get her to maybe talk to you for a little while and you would run away. So I exhibited strong harshness, and she talking to me for a while. So
but God is a redeemer.
Yeah, he did turn it around, but I did have to exhibit some gentleness. I changed a lot of diapers, no problem at all, no questions asked. I didn't mind because
a lot of midnight feeding, even me breastfeeding. It was, will you pump, and whatever milk previously pumped, I'll give it to the baby if the baby was willing to take it.
Yeah,
because the last two was like, put me on the tap, please.
But to take it back, I did show a lot of gentleness. I didn't complain. That's something that I've seen other men, and to be stereotypical, whether you're talking about movies or whatever, or real life, that men, it's just something men wouldn't do and they weren't supposed to do. And I didn't look at it like that. If I made half of this child, and it was my responsibility as well to do what I could to take care of the child. So marriage with a wife, and you're deciding to have your children, to be open-minded too. It's okay to change.
Not. I mean, that's a form of sowing dissension in your own marriage. Is if you come in with the idea of what husbands should not do when it's pertaining to procreating with your significant other, you are creating something in your wife's heart towards you, and it's not good. Just unless she's okay with that, But having a baby, like, making a baby, it's like, yes, the husband helps put the baby there, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
but the woman's body from conception until birth, it is 100% on the woman. It's her body that is going through all of these changes. When that baby is born, it's like, yeah, come help. I'm a little sleepy. Can I get an extra 30 minutes? Can I get an extra hour? I just need to rest my eyes. You know, and to have a significant other that's like, well, heck no, I ain't changing no diapers.
Yeah.
I'm not doing no 3 a.m. feeding.
Especially if it was,
That's
especially
rough.
if both of y'all work. You're the head. It's not like you're gonna have to do that all day, all night.
Hmm.
So to me, it's
It's just
a
being a
part of
helpmate.
submission. It's a being a, you have the men, the fathers. You guys got to submit too. It's just not the women submitting. That's a big argument that we had in the last 2-3 years, all over social media and internet spaces about submission. And submission goes both ways. Especially if you're biblical, if you're being biblical and you're in your God, in your submission, laying or resting at the woman's feet. That's why men can't get women to submit like they want them to submit, because they're not coming again with a servant's heart, really ready to submit yourself to your kingdom, to your queen. You have to be ready to submit some as well. And this is stuff you're going to have to learn. If you don't learn it, you're going to have a harder time.
I don't think people realize that, or I'm not sure if people don't understand that just because your husband submits in some areas doesn't mean that he's still not the head of the household. A man thinking, okay, oh, I gotta be submissive in this, then that means I don't wear the pants. And
Yeah.
I don't think that, and I know that that's not the case.
Yeah.
Like thinking that because you submit means that you no longer have the power.
Like you lost all control over the home by submitting, that like you're weak and your woman can just run all over you with that one act of submission to your wife. And
Do you think people think it's like blanketed? Like if I submit in one area, then that submissiveness is.
that's a chink in the armor. Like you're gonna make me do all. Next thing you know, I'll be painting your fingernails and toenails all the time.
Yeah.
I think that's a part of not being balanced, being a balanced human being.
Does that touch on unequally yokedness?
It can touch on unequally yokedness.
Okay, y'all look.
Which is why
the Lord done allow something else to come up to the surface.
Which is why you need to vet. It doesn't need to go right into sex. It doesn't need to go right into sex, right into move.
Sex, period.
Yeah,
until you're married.
Until you're married, you're going right into sex. You're going right into, okay, then I'm gonna move in, and because I like this person, or he was able to get sex me down like I like, and then you get married to him, and that person you're equally yoked, and then you done brought a demon into your household, into your life, and then you ultimately get divorced, and then you're causing more spirits to get women in your life, and then you're gonna break all that stuff, and you didn't have to do it in the first place.
Nope.
With some self-control, which is we are segueing into self-control. A fruit of the spirit is self-control. I mean, what more do you need to say about self-control? It's like it speaks for itself. But self-control is a fruit of the spirit. It can actually show you, if you're courting a woman before you get to marry her, it can you being able to see if she does not overeat, or she does not overdrink, or drink, or she doesn't watch all of what's the show, Real Housewives, all the time, showing that she can turn the TV off and
pick up
the word,
put the phone down,
that you see that you guys are just not, she's just not scrolling while you take her out to eat, or you're not scrolling while she takes you out to eat. If you go with each other.
Spending habits,
being able to see if, okay, every time I get paid, am I buying a new pair of Jordans every time I get paid?
Cleanliness.
Yes, it's a part of self-control. Is this person somebody that I'm going to be able to be equally yoked with if they can't keep their house clean, or if I see that if they're missing car note payments, if they're trying to buy Birkin bags and Chanel bags all the time. If I see they're buying Chanel bags all the time and not paying, not paying their electric bill, or they're struggling to pay their electric bill, then I know there's a high chance that there's a self-control issue in there, that if I bring this into a marriage, it's going to make our marriage incredibly hard. These are things that God has put out there right in our faces for us, the roadmap for us to have a good life, for us to find a good partner, for us to be able to have that much more time to be able to spend with him, not fighting and not going into chaos with my partner, and being able to spend more time with him and for his kingdom. And if we only use those things and be able to discern and see the fruits of the Spirit. That's why it's so important when you hear people say, judge a people off their fruits that they bear, right?
Yeah. You better be looking at that fruit though. Cause look, you can look at a piece of fruit and tell if it's rotten, and you ain't got to taste it to know that the fruit ain't good. But self-control, like something just came to me. It's like, dare I say that maybe self-control might be one of the fruits of the Spirit that a lot of people might struggle with, because it's the flesh. And the Bible calls for us to kill our flesh daily, not just some of the time. I forget, my best friend, she told me the Bible verse earlier, and I'm sorry, I didn't write it down. But the Bible says that do not make provisions for the flesh. And so, yeah, you got to kill this flesh daily, and it doesn't feel good. I mean, think about the type of time that we be on when we're fasting.
Romans 13-14.
Romans 13 and 14. Don't make provisions for the flesh. So, look, that's sum up self-control right there.
Yeah, it does. Yep.
If you making provisions for your flesh to kind of take the sting out of what's uncomfortable, to make it a slight bit more comfortable, you're making provisions for your flesh.
Yep, and that could be in all aspects. I can let him feel on my BBL a little bit, as long as he ain't doing nothing else.
Oh, you went there.
I went there. I did. But if
Yikes.
you don't have anything else to say,
listen.
it don't have to be a BBL. It could be a natural one too. But we all know how.
But the point is it shouldn't be no feeling.
It shouldn't be no feeling. Have some self-control. If you want to feel on it,
he need to put a ring on it.
And that's all we got to say tonight. All right. Thank you guys. Good. God bless. You guys have a good evening. Have a good weekend. Make sure you stay safe out there if you're in a place that has bad weather. And we'll talk to you next week.
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Sorry. Tomorrow. See, I'm already messed up.
See you. Good night.